The Forgotten Warning. The galaxy was old. Its stars had burned for billions of years, and many civilizations had risen and fallen long before the present age. Among them were the Elders, an ancient race that no longer fought, no longer ruled, but only whispered warnings in council halls and faded libraries. The Elders spoke rarely, but when they did, their words carried the weight of ages. One such warning had echoed for centuries. Do not provoke the humans. Do not test the world they call Earth. For if they rise in anger, no empire can stop them. At first, younger empires respected this wisdom. They saw humanity as strange but capable, too dangerous to disturb. But time is cruel, and pride grows strong in the young. New rulers, young admirals, ambitious senators, and arrogant kings dismissed the warning as myth. To them, humans were small, fragile creatures from a forgotten blue planet at the edge of a spiral arm. They asked, why should the galaxy fear them? In the grand chamber of the Coalition Council, one young leader laughed aloud when the warning was read again. His name was Valor, leader of the ambitious Veyran Dominion. His ships were sleek, his fleets countless, and his scientists assured him that humans were nothing special. They are flesh and blood like us, he sneered. The Elders fear shadows of the past. But I will show you all. They cannot stand against true power. The chamber echoed with whispers, some in agreement, others in doubt. Far across the stars, on the world called Earth, humans lived unaware of these debates. They had grown strong, not in silence, but in struggle. Their history was one of endless wars, broken empires, revolutions, and recoveries. They had learned to fight not just with weapons, but with ideas, with machines, and with the unyielding will to survive. They carried scars of their past, but those scars had made them unbreakable. When the Veyran fleets arrived at the edge of human space, their first act was to issue demands. They did not ask for treaties, they did not seek trade, they demanded surrender. Bow to the Dominion, their envoy declared, or be erased. The words were transmitted across human colonies, broadcast on every channel, translated into every language, and for the first time in centuries, humanity faced an enemy not of their own making, but one that came from the endless void. The first human ships that met the Veyran fleet were not mighty war vessels, but small patrol craft. The Veyran commander mocked them, calling them insects before a storm. Yet when the battle began, those insects fought with ferocity that stunned the enemy. They rammed enemy cruisers when their guns failed. They broadcast defiance even as their hulls tore apart. The Dominion expected fear, but found rage instead. Reports of the first clash reached Earth within hours. The Council of Nations gathered, their faces grim. No one argued about politics now. No one spoke of rivalries, resources, or borders. They spoke only of defense. They came for all of us, one general said. Then all of us will stand as one. Factories roared to life. Shipyards lit the skies with fire. And in every home, humans whispered the same vow. Never again shall we kneel. Back in the Coalition Council, the Elders watched the storm unfold. Their faces were sorrowful, not surprised. They had seen this before, long ago, when another proud empire had thought to tame the humans. That empire no longer existed. One elder finally spoke, his voice a soft echo. The Dominion has opened a wound that will bleed galaxies. They ignored the warning. And soon, they will learn. The Veyran leaders laughed still. To them, the first human resistance was nothing, a spark in the darkness. They could not see the fire building, the storm rising. They could not feel the weight of history pressing forward. For humanity was not like others. When pushed to the edge, they did not break. They did not beg. They fought. And when they fought together, when their fury burned, no power in the galaxy could hold them back. Part 1 ended with silence in the void, broken only by the echo of human war drums. The galaxy trembled, though many still did not understand why. Soon they would. Very soon, the fire spreads. The first clash had been small, a test of strength. The Veyran Dominion expected a quick victory, a broken enemy, and a new world to add to their map. But instead, they found something they had never faced before. Humans, who refused to fall. The patrol ships that fought at the edge of the Sol system had been destroyed, yes, but their last transmissions played across every human channel. Men and women dying in fire and void had not begged for mercy. They had not surrendered. They had cursed the Dominion and vowed vengeance. The recordings were carried like sparks into the hearts of billions, and those sparks became flame. Factories thundered without pause. The skies above Earth turned red with fire from the shipyards. Old warships, once retired and left to rust, were pulled back into service. New war machines, faster and deadlier than any before, rolled out by the hundreds. Yet it was not just machines that prepared, it was the people. Volunteers flooded military halls. Miners abandoned the rocks they dug and signed up to crew starships. Farmers left their fields to become soldiers. Even children whispered promises to join when they were grown. Humanity did not see this war as a distant fight. They saw it as survival. The Veyran commander, Admiral Kaelor, was confident still. He led a fleet of 200 warships, each larger than a human city. Their guns could melt mountains. Their shields could hold against the fury of suns. He believed the humans could not last more than weeks. When his scouts reported human ships massing near Mars, he smiled cruelly. "Finally they come to me," he said. "I will break them in a single strike." But the humans were not fools. They did not gather to die in one grand battle. They fought with a cunning that shocked the Dominion. Small fleets struck from shadows, then vanished into asteroid belts. Human ships laid traps in the debris fields, hiding mines that ripped through Veyran hulls. And when Kaelor sent his ships in pursuit, they found nothing but empty space. Slowly, painfully, the mighty Dominion learned what the elders had once spoken. Humans fought not just with power, but with wit. The Coalition Council, far from Earth, argued bitterly. Some races demanded that the humans be abandoned. "They will bring only chaos," one senator shouted. "The Dominion's anger will consume us all." Others were silent, remembering the elders' words. They watched the first reports of human victories spread across the stars. A single Veyran destroyer lost here. A cruiser gone missing there. It was small, almost nothing, but it was not nothing. No other race had stood so firm against the Dominion. On Earth, the commanders chose a name for their new campaign, Operation Iron Tide. It was not just defense, it was revenge. Human fleets would not only guard their colonies, they would strike back. One by one, human warships poured into the void, and for the first time in history, the fractured nations of Earth flew under a single banner. Their symbol was simple, a burning star on a field of black. The galaxy would come to know it well. The first great clash came near the colony of Titan Prime. The Veyran brought 30 ships. The humans had only 12. Numbers alone said the battle was impossible. But humans fought as if their very souls demanded victory. They used Titan's rings to hide their movement. They fired asteroids like weapons, slinging rocks the size of mountains at enemy hulls. And when the fighting grew desperate, human ships rammed enemy cruisers, detonating reactors that tore holes through the Dominion's proud fleet. When the smoke cleared, only half of Kaelor's ships returned. The humans had lost nearly everything, but they had won. The news spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, races who had whispered of humanity now spoke their name aloud with fear and awe. The Dominion still laughed, calling the humans desperate savages. But those laughs grew quieter each day. For every battle cost them ships. For every skirmish, they bled. And all the while, the humans only grew stronger. In the quiet halls of the Elder Council, an ancient voice spoke once more. "It begins again," the Elder said. "The cycle repeats. They were warned. They did not listen. And now, the humans rise." His words were carried through the silent chamber like a curse. None dared to answer. The fire of war now burned across the stars, and though the Dominion thought they still controlled its path, the truth was darker. The fire was spreading beyond their reach, and soon nothing could stop it. Shadows of power. The Varen Dominion still called humanity weak, but doubt had already begun to creep into their hearts. They had lost too many ships, too many officers, to dismiss the humans as insects. Admiral Kaelor's reports grew bitter, filled with excuses. "They use tricks," he wrote. "They hide like cowards. They refuse honorable combat." Yet behind his words was the truth he dared not speak. He feared them, the Dominion. High Council, however, demanded more. They ordered a full invasion of human space. Hundreds of warships gathered at the border, their weapons glowing like suns, their engines shaking the void. They would sweep into the Sol system and burn Earth itself to ash. Their banners promised glory. Their admirals promised victory. And yet, far away, the elders only whispered, "They have awakened what should never be stirred." On Earth, the humans did not tremble. They had seen the fleets gathering through hidden scouts, and instead of fear, they prepared. Their leaders spoke with one voice now, a unity not seen in all of human history. "They want to erase us," one general said. "Then we will show them we cannot be erased." Factories that once built cars and machines now built weapons. Shipyards that once crafted cargo vessels now forged warships. But most dangerous of all, deep beneath Earth's oceans and hidden in the frozen dark of the moon, humanity unlocked projects long kept secret. War machines never before used, technologies feared even by their own makers, were brought into the light. Weapons forged in silence, born from centuries of research, were now ready. When the Dominion fleet entered the Sol system, they expected chaos. They expected humans to scatter and flee. Instead, they were met with silence. No transmissions. No surrender. Only the cold dark of space. Their sensors showed nothing but empty rocks and planets. "Where are they?" Kaelor demanded, his voice sharp. And then the trap closed. Human warships emerged from the shadows of asteroids, from behind moons, from the very blackness of space itself. They struck not with numbers, but with precision. Their weapons ripped through Dominion shields, their missiles howled like storms, and their railguns hurled fire at impossible speeds. Ships that had been invisible only moments before revealed themselves in zing fury. It was not an army, it was a hunting pack, and the hunters were merciless. The Dominion screamed in panic. Kaelor's mighty fleet was torn apart, one ship after another falling into fire. Human fighters darted through the chaos like swarms of hornets, striking and vanishing. Some Varen captains ordered retreat, but there was no escape. The humans had blocked every path. The void itself had become their weapon. When the battle ended, silence returned to the Sol system. The Dominion fleet was gone. Not crippled, not scattered, gone. Hundreds of ships erased in a single night, and humanity had lost only a fraction of their forces. It was not a battle. It was a message. Across the galaxy, the message echoed. For the first time in countless ages, the Dominion had suffered total defeat. And the ones who had delivered it were the same fragile creatures the galaxy had mocked for centuries. Suddenly, the Elder's warning was not myth. It was truth. In the council chambers of distant worlds, races that had once laughed now spoke in hushed tones. Some feared the humans, whispering that they were demons in flesh. Others saw hope, dreaming that humanity could be the shield against the Dominion's tyranny. but all agreed on one thing: the galaxy would never be the same again. Admiral Kaylor, disgraced and broken, was brought before the Dominion High Council. He tried to explain. He tried to tell them the humans were not like others, but the council silenced him with rage. "No enemy can resist us," they shouted. "You failed because you are weak." They refused to believe the truth. They would send more fleets. They would bring more fire. They would crush humanity at any cost. And so the Dominion prepared to pour their entire might into the war. But as they did not realize the deeper danger. Humanity had tasted blood. Humanity had fought as one. And when humanity fought together, they did not stop. In the shadows of Earth's hidden bases, new war, ships waited. Weapons beyond imagination hummed in the dark. The Dominion thought they were the hunters, but soon they would learn the truth. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was the storm. The rising storm. The destruction of the Dominion fleet in Sol system sent shockwaves across the galaxy. News traveled faster than light through whispers, rumors, and broken signals. Some worlds refused to believe it. Others trembled in silence. Never before had the Dominion suffered such a total defeat. Yet the humans had done it. Creatures once mocked as fragile, now standing tall in the heart of the storm. On Earth, the victory did not bring rest. It brought hunger. Factories doubled their output. Shipyards expanded beyond the moon and into Mars' orbit. Every surviving ship was repaired, rearmed, and sent back into the void. Humanity had no intention of waiting for the Dominion to strike again. They would carry the war to enemy space. The humans had learned quickly, too quickly. Tactics that took other species centuries to master, they adapted in weeks. They studied every battle, every loss, every maneuver, and turned it into knowledge. Their commanders became legends almost overnight, their names whispered even among alien soldiers. Some called them demons, others called them saviors, but all agreed the humans were different. The first counterattack came at the Varen border world of Dravos. The Dominion had fortified it with orbital stations, shield generators, and 3 fleets. The humans arrived with less than half the firepower. But they did not come to match strength with strength. They came with new weapons, ones no other race had seen. Massive railguns, hidden inside hollowed asteroids, fired projectiles at near light speed, tearing through Dominion shields like paper. Swarms of drones, small as insects but deadly as knives, filled the void, overwhelming enemy defenses. And then came the human warships, charging straight into the chaos, fearless, relentless. The battle lasted only hours. When it ended, Dravos burned. The Dominion's proud fortresses lay in ruins, their fleets were broken, and above the smoking planet, the human banner flew for the first time in enemy space. Panic spread through the Dominion. Worlds once loyal now whispered rebellion. Soldiers once fearless now dreaded their orders. Merchants fled trade routes, and entire colonies went silent, rather than face the humans. Yet still, the High Council of the Dominion refused to see the truth. They sent more fleets. They screamed for more war. Pride blinded them, and pride would destroy them. Meanwhile, the elders watched in silence. They alone understood what was unfolding. In hidden chambers, they remembered the old wars, the ones buried by time. Humanity had risen before, and when they had risen, empires had fallen. One elder spoke softly. The river of history flows again. The Dominion cannot stop it. None can stop it. But not all the galaxy feared. Some began to hope. Smaller races, long enslaved by the Dominion, heard the stories of humans who fought without fear. They heard of humans who freed colonies rather than conquer them, who gave weapons to the weak and protection to the desperate. For the first time in ages, the oppressed had a champion, and they whispered a new name in the dark: the Unstoppables. Back on Earth, the leaders knew the war was far from over. The Dominion was vast, with resources spread across hundreds of systems. To defeat them would take more than courage. It would take sacrifice. Yet humanity had already accepted this truth. Every man, every woman, every child understood the cost. And still, they stood ready. In the Dominion capital, the High Council gathered in fury. Their voices rose like fire. "We will burn their worlds," one shouted. "We will erase their name," cried another. Yet beneath their anger was fear. Fear of a key race they had mocked. Fear of an enemy they could not understand. Fear of the humans who had proven they would not break. The galaxy now watched with wide eyes. The storm was no longer rising. It had arrived, and at its center stood humanity, unbowed, unbroken, unstoppable. The Unstoppable. The war reached its breaking point. The Dominion had sent fleets beyond counting. They had poured their treasure, their armies, their very pride into crushing the humans. And yet, with each battle, with each clash, they bled. Their fleets vanished into fire. Their armies fell silent. Their colonies turned against them. The more they fought, the stronger humanity became. Earth's people had transformed. No longer were they many nations, divided by borders and rivalry. They were one, bound by fire and blood. Soldiers wore the same emblem, spoke the same vow. Never again shall we kneel. Their fleets grew larger, their weapons deadlier, their courage unshaken. Every loss only hardened their will. Every wound only deepened their fury. The final battle came at Valoria, the Dominion's capital world. A planet of towering cities and endless wealth, guarded by the greatest fleet ever assembled. Over 1,000 warships encircled it, their guns glowing like a second sun. The Dominion High Council sat in their grand palace, certain that no enemy could break through such power. Then humanity arrived. Their fleet was smaller, less than half the size of the Dominion Armada. But size no longer mattered, for humanity had unlocked its deepest weapons. Titans of steel, sovereign-class warships, emerged from the void. Each was a moving fortress, bristling with guns, their engines burning brighter than stars. Behind them came swarms of drones, missiles, and ships forged in silence, crafted for this very day. The battle was chaos. Dominion ships fired until their reactors screamed. Their weapons lit the void with endless storms. But the humans did not falter. Their shields bent but did not break. Their warships pushed forward like a tide of iron. One by one, Dominion ships fell. Explosions tore through the Armada. Flames consumed the skies above Valoria. On the surface, the High Council trembled. Their grand city shook as burning wreckage rained from the heavens. Their pride crumbled into fear. For centuries they had ruled with strength, but now they understood the Elder's words. The humans could not be stopped. And then the humans did the unthinkable. They did not burn Valoria. They did not erase it from existence. Instead, they forced the Dominion to surrender. They tore down the banners of tyranny and raised the flag of freedom. They freed the slaves, armed the weak, and swore that no empire would rule the galaxy by fear again. The galaxy gasped. Races long chained by the Dominion wept in relief. Worlds that had never known hope now saw it rising in the form of human ships. The humans had not come only for vengeance. They had come to break the cycle of oppression. In the chambers of the elders, silence reigned. One by one they bowed their heads. "It is fulfilled," an elder whispered. They ignored the warning. They thought themselves above history. And now, humanity rises as the storm that none can resist. From that day, A new age began. The Dominion was no more. The humans, once mocked, once doubted, became the power that shaped the galaxy. They were not perfect, not gentle, not merciful to those who sought to enslave others. But they were unstoppable, and the galaxy at last understood why the elders had feared them, and why they had warned. For humanity's greatest weapon was not their machines, nor their fleets, nor even their cunning. It was their will, the unyielding fire that refused to die. A fire that could turn weakness into strength, loss into victory, and despair into hope. And as long as that fire burned, no empire, no council, no dominion could ever stop them. Humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never forget.